All right, guys, welcome back to Nerf, Surf, and Turf. This is day 2, ladies and gentlemen, day 2. So this will be delayed because I'm going to go into a detailed explanation of what everybody's doing. I think it's going to be the most fun for everybody to watch later, to see what everybody's up to instead of being vague. I think I'm going to do an in-detailed one and then a vague one. I'll release the vague one in real time, and I'll do the detailed one for later release. So that's what we're going to do right now. Let's go ahead and do this for a little bit of a graphic interface here. Let's go ahead and, you're not going to let me. Got to get out of this first. There we go. So let's go ahead and go over to a split map here so we can, just for this first time, look at the teams. Let's get rid of this map control here. Nope, that's not what I wanted to do. Uh-oh, you going to let me do that? I don't know if you are or not. You are devil. Devil man. Devil machine. No. Wow. This is how to do it, folks. This is podcasting 101, folks. Just smooth as fucking silk. All right, so let's take a look at each team individually here and see what's going on with everyone. So first of all, we do have Team A here, who has been more or less captained by, it seems to me, by Power of Us here. Power of Us is a veteran of this game, also a podcaster. And so when I release this stack, I'm going to give links to his YouTube and also to Benaya's YouTube. And then hopefully Raya Force will also release some. So we'll have a nice diversity of perspective here. So you can see what happened here is right away, Greenland goes and attacks over into Iceland. So initial attack, that makes a lot of sense. That's kind of obvious, really, that this will happen. He goes with a lot of force, though, which leaves his two continental partners unprotected. So you could see this almost as a 3-on-2 if the South decides to attack. So that's a possible thing here. My understanding is that they are making overtures of being friendly, but that they're not actually being friendly, which I think is a tragic mistake. I think it's a big, big mistake. I think that the New World is a natural ally, that these two coalitions should have immediately made close and intimate ties, because as soon as you've got the New World secured, then, you've got two entire countries that are going all Navy. They protect the two Army guys, and you can strike with the power of 6 countries into a single country over here. Now, of course, they should be ready. Anybody who's played the 31-player map, which I've played many, many times, because it happens to be the noob map that we all start on, you know that eventually America's coming for you. The New World is coming for you. So anyway, this is a predictable attack up here with more people than I would have expected, but that's, it is what it is. We see a lot of movement over here. And again, if we look at this division here, we see all the way down here that we have Team A, North and South Canada, and Greenland. So that's up to here. So we do have Botryk, Benjigun, and Lefteros down here in the south. And let's see if we have movement. Okay, yes, that makes a lot of sense. It looks like we do have a joint attack into Newfoundland here. So it looks like they may be sharing this attack. So this is Southern USA is attacking and going to take this one. And although there is a force there, nope. And then so this is Southern USA also. So interesting. It looks like Central USA here. Where are you going, bro? Where's all your troops? Central USA. Oh boy. Okay. Central USA is pushing north with a lot of troops. Holy crap. 40, 50, 60, about 70 troops here. We have another, wow, 70. Here's another 30. That's 110, 127. More landing over here at 130, 140 troops in the vicinity. And wow, they're taking this as well. Very aggressive from the Americas here, from the USA is what it is, North, Central, and South USA. There is going to be war between nations soon. So speaking of which, let's go ahead and move on from the New World over to the Middle East down here. So very, very natural attack down into here. You expect to see this absolutely double oil cannot be left on the table. Double fish cannot be left on the table. So it's just absolutely natural that this is happening here. So our team C here, which is Sweet Salt, Oliesa, and Aald. Some of these I don't know how to, Aald. I don't know how to say because I've never said it. I've always just read it. So, and then we have here a team of real veterans, Harcold and Papa Smitty, and then Bra up here. Dangerous combination here of players. Not as familiar with Bra here, but I do know Harcold and Papa Smitty quite well. Looks like in the middle here we have what I'm just going to call a unfortunate. I toyed with the idea of just letting the last team just be AI, just have like 3 countries that are AI. But we did have enough people who wanted to play. So these 3 were kind of thrown together last minute. I don't know what level they are. We could go into it, but I think they're like 6 to 8 level players. So they're right in the middle of Europe here. And so I don't know what's going to happen with them. Let's go ahead and just look what's happening here with France. So France is stacking the border here, and Master of Puppets. Oh, like Metallica, Master of Puppets. Man, Metallica really took off after Stranger Things. That whole scene with Master of Puppets. That was a great scene, by the way. I love me some old school Metallica, dude. I was back there doing headbanging back in the day, so I was there. My whole friend group, we were basically an air band. One of my friends, Nick, would always he'd play the air drums, and then I would always play the air guitar. And it's the heavy metal air guitar too. So when you're playing it, your hand is down by your crotch, and of course all of our heads were banging in the mandatory banging style that's so popular among headbangers. So it looks like we have a bit of a standoff here, very one-sided. Both have forts. Okay, good for you. Good for you there. 22 against 44. I feel like France could take this if he wanted to. It would be very costly, but he could take it. Now, the question is, it does look like Austria, who has allies, could come over with some weight to defend. But now, Papa Smitty's coming up with 20 and 20, which will be enough to take these 2 and have a good probably 20 left over that could also add to this attack. So we may be seeing the early signs here on day 2. This is just day 2, folks. War cannot happen between player characters yet. But after day 1, of course, as soon as day 2 started, that AI was vulnerable, and that's what we see happening here, is a lot of AIs are being attacked. Speaking of which, come on up here. We do see, okay, so Team G is kind of Team Noob here, and I'm kind of rooting for them. I'll be honest with you. Anytime noobs are giving it the old college try, I'm rooting for them. So this is an interesting and I think well conceived play here. This is going to put Britain on mainland Europe here and give him some additional resources. Everyone is starved for resources, by the way. At the beginning of this game, everyone is just lacking. So teams are going to have to trade between members for key resources. It's just going to be really interesting to see how well people play together. I will tell you, I've been lurking in the chat. Every team has its own chat. I've been lurking in there and just kind of watching behind the scenes because that's going to inform how I cast this. I'm not going to give away any secrets, but I'm going to say there's been a lot of very detailed, very clever interactions, trading, team play that's been so when you see me casting, you're really only seeing the top layer. I do notice sort of a classic sort of so we got just 1 scout coming back here. There's a lot of manpower. There's a lot of manpower in the backfield of Britain, and I'm not sure if that's intentional or not, but that does allow at least for him to block any landing, him or her, I'm not sure. We do have several females of the species, so to speak, that are listening and taking part in this game. So thank you to the women of 1914. You guys rock. Super glad to have some freaking diversity, in terms of our gender makeup here. So glad to have it. Super glad to have women here. And so I don't know. I'm really trying to avoid the whole hey bro, hey brothers, I'm trying to be like, hey, no, this is this is actually just a game that like human beings can play. And so, yeah, some human beings happen to be female human beings. So there you go. Anyway, super glad if you are a woman listening to this. Thank you for being here. We appreciate you, and we're glad you're a part of this community. And we could probably use a little bit more of that sort of female perspective, the female wisdom and intelligence. It's funny because women have this reputation for being, hysterical. That word hysterical comes from the Greek root hist, which hist means female, like that's hysterectomy, and is when they remove the uterus or whatever. But the irony there is that women tend to be way more cool and logical than most men. It's usually the men that get all fucking bulging veins, screaming, and so it's just a big irony there. But anyway, glad to have the feminine here as part of our experience. It can only be better for the game in general, in my opinion. So anyway, going to try to avoid bro unless I know that somebody is a male. There's a few that I actually know who they are, so I'll say him or whatever, or brother, brah. Like this is clearly a brah, hey brah. But anyway, so I'm rooting for Team Noob here. I really am. It's these three here. So good luck, guys. You're in the midst of a freaking wolf pack. But best of luck to you there. So speaking of the AI and how the AI has been faring, let's go ahead and go back to Team A, because we have a captured territory. One of the early AI captures here does go to Greenland, capturing over here into Reykjavik, capturing this territory. However, an hour and a half before that happened, we have this happened right here. Capital of Denmark was taken by Sweden. An hour and a half, making this the first territory that was captured. Which brings me to this. Ooh, you can't hear that. It was super loud in my ear. It was a notification. Anyway, here we go. This is something that was shared in our Nerf Surf and Turf Lounge, and I went ahead and did tag everyone. So if you haven't seen this yet, then you're not paying attention, because this is going to be released 5 days after real time. So surely you've seen it by now. All right, so this is the announcement. All right, NST game, the first hidden achievements have been unlocked. So the first hidden achievement was First Blood AI. The first person who captures an AI territory, that happened to be Hertz. Hertz there, attacked in, here we have it, out of Sweden, and captured the first AI territory. Because of that, he receives a prize of 1,000 of the resource of his choice. Up here, 1,000 resource of his choice. The second hidden achievement was Cap Killer AI. So the first person to capture an AI capital will also get a prize of 1,000 of the resource of their choice. Now, how will this work? Easy. I am a player character in this game. I'm neutral. I'm not on anybody's team, but I sure as heck can give you 1,000 of the resource of your choice. Now, I'm not building anything. I'm building very, very limited things, and I'm building them for a specific reason, but I've got a lot of resources that I can divvy out. I can give out silver. I can give out foodstuffs. I can give out iron. And by the way, as time goes on, these hidden achievements may get larger. They will get larger, I'm just going to tell you. And there will be some challenges. There will be some quests that I will send. Whoever wants to go on a quest and achieve it will also receive prizes. Now, as a teaser for later in the game, why did I build a fort here? Well, I built a fort there because I'm going to develop this one just a little bit. This territory, just a little bit. And I'm going to develop it a little bit because, well, what if I gave an entire territory as a prize for a quest? Wouldn't that be interesting? So anyway, just a little added fun in this game is going to be the fact that certain achievements will unlock prizes as we go. So super stoked about that. All right, let's keep up our world tour here and continue on east and see what's going on with Team D down here. Team D is also a very, very experienced team. We have Mighty Benaya. We have, I believe, Mighty Benaya's younger brother. I'm not sure of that, but I'm almost sure of that. And then we have veteran Silver Star, who we've seen in action in our previous arena game. So we've got 2 strong players, and anybody who's related to Benaiah is probably a strong player. So I'm going to go ahead and say I'll bet you Morcus the Dorcas is probably also a very strong player. So we've got a strong team here in Team D, a very strong team here in Team F up here. And then I know Oli is a good player. He's been playing a long, long time. Sweet Salt, I know, is a good player as well. So a strong team down here in Team C. And then there's some new players I haven't seen in a while. I'm really looking forward to getting to know them because, as you know, we're really trying to recruit heavily and train heavily into our alliances. So get some strong alliance playing going. So I'm really looking forward to seeing some of these people I haven't seen before. See how they play. See what they pull out of the hat, so to speak. So then we have Team E over here. Team E has a little bit of a difficulty because they have an AI between them, but they are Greece here, right? We got Caucasus, or Ottoman Empire rather, and over here we have Arabia. So I always say it's Caucasus. I don't know. I don't even think it's a country anymore. Caucasus. It's like a mountain range now. But anyway, so these guys, we'll see how they do. Again, these are guys that I'm not very familiar with, so I'm really looking forward to seeing them play. It looks like some early stuff is just sending out the water scouts, which of course is necessary. Not seeing a lot of motion from Greece. I don't see any motion from Greece. Okay, that's a bad sign. We're on day 2 with 0 motion, but we do have buildings down. Okay, all right. So motion. Oh, we have an armored car built. So I guess we know that Greece is land. So there's been a little conflict about this. Somebody was complaining that somebody was building something not in their category according to the spreadsheet. And it was clarified pretty quickly that, hey, the spreadsheet was kind of organizational, and it was also kind of just to help us, if you wanted to be air, I wanted you to be able to claim air. If you're really good at ships, I wanted you to be able to claim surf rather, Navy only. But it was never meant to be locked in until you build your first unit. As soon as you build a unit, then you are locked in, right? That's how we do this. So Greece, you are land. In fact, you're among the few that oh, this is not good, folks. We have our first breach. We have armored cars developing in 2 territories in the same coalition. So this is early in the game for a breach. We have an official breach. This is impossible. This cannot happen. So, and I was actually intending on this very podcast for this to be my first minute inspection for this. So what's going to happen is this. They're going to tell me who their land team is, and they're going to send their armored car from, say, for instance, this is probably Navy. I would make Greece Navy. It's got so many shoreline territories and even a couple shore doubles. Yeah, I think I would make Greece. Whatever they want to do is fine. But this armored car needs to, I would say, what do you think is fair? This armored car needs to go all the way down into the corner here and never move. If you build a vehicle outside of your specialty, then you forfeit it. So I'm sorry to say that was wasted resources there, my friend. I thought we'd been over this enough for us to know you cannot build outside of your specialty. So Team E with our first infraction, which is strange because it looks like Greece hasn't done anything other than build some buildings and build an illegal unit. So, okay, guys, just know I will be reaching out to Greece specifically and saying, hey, if you're not land, I need you to drive that car into the ocean. And unfortunately, there's no way to decommission a car or destroy it. I suppose if you were already at war, let's say this, if you're already at war with an AI, no, see, that's not fair either because, by suiciding into an AI, you are still harming that AI and benefiting your own situation. So I'd say the only way to fairly deal with that is just have a timeout corner. That's what we'll call this down here, a timeout corner where you drive your illegal units and you park them there. And I would go ahead and say that each team should probably have something like, 3 strikes? We haven't talked a lot about this because I didn't anticipate, frankly, having much of a problem with it. But we might talk about a 3 strikes rule if Team E builds another illegal unit on top of this first one. Then we might have to sit down and have a discussion as a community as to what we want to do about that. Because part of the fun of this game is the limitations. And so we need to hold fast to those limitations. So here we go. First infraction, ladies and gentlemen. Let's look at Team J here now. Team J is going to be, yeah, there we go. Raya Force here, Swedish Viking here with the Ukraine, and down here, Hemland in Romania. Okay, this is a strong team. Raya Force gained my respect quite a bit in that arena game. And we had a lot of sort of backroom meetings and planning sessions where I really got to see some insight into how he thinks and gained a lot of admiration and respect for his play. Hemland, I know, has been working over in the Alt Alliance along with Benaya and Batarik. And those three have been really doing a great job over in the Alt Alliance, and have a lot of respect for Hemland as well. I've seen a lot of his discussions, and yeah, I mean, that's just how I kind of size people up, is I just listen to them talk and I listen to their ideas. And, you know, I've just heard some really good ideas and some really good discussions from Hemland, from Raya Force. Swedish Viking, I don't know as well, but I've also seen some really good play out of him. I think I've played in 1 or 2 games with him now. But again, just have an overall positive impression of Swedish Viking as well. Can't remember what, maybe he can remind me what games we were in. And no disrespect, it's just like I play so many games. I play too many games, really. I'll have 10 or 12 open at the same time. And that's just ridiculous. By the way, I've got it down now to like 3 or 4 because I really wanted to give my attention to this game coming up and to our Alliance game coming up as well. So let's keep on down the list here. Let's look at Team I here. Team I here is going to be, I believe, Green Thumb here. Yes, with Poland. Green Thumb. This is General Opara here with Lithuania, and all the way up into southern Russia, or just Russia, I guess. So this is going to be a very interesting team grouping here. I'm really anticipating that there might be some alliances between these different players. But you know, I kind of actually, I smoothed over here. I'm getting ahead of myself here. I'd like to look at Team J in a little more detail. Remember, that's what this is about. I will release a cast that's just sort of from afar. I'm not seeing a lot of activity. I'm seeing scouts coming out here from Raya Force. Oh, and of course, here we go. Raya Force moving very quickly towards this. I can't see what the unit is, and unfortunately on the half map here, I can break out of the half map temporarily. So he's going for this energy. It's a single, but it's worth looking at. And he wants to grab hold of that preemptively before Russia can do anything about it. It looks to me like Russia has vacated. Oh, that's scary. Oh, my friend, Russia, you don't know who's at your back door here. This is Raya Force. Oh my gosh, well, they must have, you know what? They must have an early alliance, because I've never seen someone leave themselves so vulnerable in the backcountry. So there must be something fairly solid here between those two teams, is what makes sense to me. Between we're looking now at Team J and Team I. Now, if they teamed up, that would be pretty smart. That's a nice big block here that can watch each other's back. So if they did that, that is a very wise strategic move to make. So we'll keep an eye on that as well moving forward here. So Team J, also we have Swedish Viking here, and the Ukraine is part of Team J. And it looks like he's not doing a lot other than moving sort of to the border here. He's keeping men on the border with Russia. So if Russia trusts Team J doesn't entirely trust Russia. He's keeping all of his borders tight, which I think is wise. He's moving some stuff to the west here against, I think, what he perceives as some defensive posturing from Austria here. Looks like a little bit of flower defense going on here. Not convinced how effective flower defense is. If anybody wants to weigh in their opinion about, I think it's called lemmings when it's used as a defense, but why not just call it the same flower that it is when it's offensive? I don't know. But anyway, if you've got some opinions about that, let me know. My opinion of the flower attack is that it delivers a lot of power, but I think you take more damage than you give. And we can talk more about that in detail later. I think I'm going to do a special flower video about what my opinion about that. It has to do with splash damage, just as a teaser on that. So looking over here at our last J player here is, down here in Romania. And so Romania, what are you doing, Jay? So he has built an armored car. So it looks like he's the land guy amongst the three of those, which makes sense. Jay doesn't have a lot of options, but I would say probably you want over here Whoa, whoa, hey, yay, what's going on? You'd probably want your Navy guy only to be Caucasus here. And that makes sense because at least he can get some activity here in the Black Sea. So maybe dominate the Black Sea over here. So, all right, so we have a land guy over here now, we can suppose, in Romania. Other than that, stacking borders, doing normal kind of stuff. I like it. Team I, as we mentioned, Russia has abandoned his southern front almost entirely. Very interesting. And is moving up, it looks like. Yeah, it looks like he's moving up to reinforce St. Petersburg, who has a lot of pressure coming down on him now. Okay, interesting. So Team H, we'll look at them next, is putting some pressure on the capital of Russia. Very vulnerable place there for Russia. Let's go ahead and look at Team I now here. We just kind of looked over H. Let's look at Team I in a little bit more detail here. So green thumb here is Poland, the first part of Team I. Looks like he's just doing some standard border protection stuff, keeping some people in the in-country here. So these two have nothing threatening them, and he's leaving quite a few there. So that to me means a defensive posture. He's ready to run with these units at any of his border positions. He's got his little ones out so he can see as far as possible beyond his borders. So very defensive posturing from Poland. Not surprising because he does have 1, 2, 3 enemy countries adjacent, and then another enemy country very close by. So he is feeling the pressure from pretty much four potential enemies around him. So he's adopting that defensive posture with keeping some troops in the in-country here to rapidly shuttle to the front if he need to. Up here we have our second I country, who seems to be doing the same sort of thing here, Lithuania, except he hasn't moved any at all. So he and Greece have moved not a single troop. Very interesting, but he has built some buildings, so that's encouraging at least. But not a single troop has been moved. Maybe he likes where everyone is. I mean, again, same sort of situation. He does have, well, he has 2 countries, hostile countries, potentially hostile. No, that's not right. He only has 1. He has 1 Team J to his south here, his ally to the right, ally to the left, and somewhat south, and not adjacent to H yet, but still on the same sea up here, so potentially could be scary, but not moving at all. I don't get it. You know, vacate your border with your ally here. Not sure why you're there. I'm not sure why Russia. We have another car developed in Russia, so we can now officially say that Russia is land, not just 1, but 3 cars. Okay, so I'm going to be coming back and making some notes on this, concrete notes about who is what, because we do want to make sure and keep the game honest, and I'm the only person that has eyes on the entire board. Let's finally move up to Team H here. North Russia is vacating. It looks like he's not going for these resources. I think that might be wise at this point. Pick those up later if you can, but solidify your borders for now. So we got 20 here, looking at 40 here. Ooh, putting pressure on northern Russia. So we have H putting some serious pressure on Russia, which I think makes a lot of sense because Russia is kind of alone up here. As we've seen over here, unfortunately, I don't know what's going on over here with Lithuania, but he's not moving anything anywhere. So weird stuff. We do have some Polish forces coming up, as we saw, to reinforce, but not a lot. So I'm afraid Russia is going to be under attack soon. That may be the first hot war we see between player characters in this game. So Russia moving down to put pressure, northern Russia moving down to put pressure on Russia. We've already seen here that both Sweden and Finland here moving down to put significant pressure right there at the gates of St. Petersburg, and leaving some guys around the edge who are, ostensibly there to kind of block or whatever, but are ready to move in. So we have 40, 50, 60, 65 guys here. If we don't get some serious defense in place, and he's moving more in place here, so that's, he's got an armored car. So it looks like he's got about 30 there, but there's a lot of guys over here. And, these guys can move in quickly. Is there anybody else moving down? Let's take a look at that. Do we have any longer term plans? No. Some defensive cars. So once again, I think we can say with all security here that Finland is the land, Finland is the turf here. Okay, and then Sweden made that nice big early move and took the capital of Denmark. So a lot of early resources gathered from that. Oh, and we didn't mention here, this is Germany, who is Master Puppets. Okay, so Master Puppets. So we do have three teams took an AI pretty early in the game, but it just so happens that Hertz here captured it first. And I was paying attention. I looked in the newspaper, made sure of it, because unfortunately, Greenland was just behind him a little bit. Bullet Hole was just an hour and a half behind that capture, and Bullet Hole would have gotten the 1,000 for the first capture, and then of course Hertz would have still gotten the 1,000 for the first capital AI captured. So they would have split the dough, but in this case, Hertz gets it all. So Hertz, you just need to get in touch with me and let me know what you want. I'll give you 1,000 of one, 1,000 of the other, or 2,000 of one, whatever you want. That will be delivered to him immediately. You can see also that Sweden, with this early snag here, has secured a beachhead in Europe, which this is a noob down here. Master of Puppets is one of our noob players, but he did well to grab a double wheat. Oh, yeah, good play. Grabbed a double wheat. He's got another 20 coming in to hold it. That's good. But, boy, he really should have tried to capture this. Because now Sweden has a beachhead. And we've been learning more and more about how in these tight games where everyone's paying attention, you need that beachhead because you will be destroyed as you get out of the water. Go watch our last arena game. A lot of death on the shores in that game. So with a beachhead, this very aggressive H team up here now has an inroad into Europe and a potential threat into the noob team here. I feel bad for this noob team. I mean, they are surrounded by sharks. I mean, just to me, one of the most dangerous teams here is going to be Team F, right? Who's all around them there. And then they also are kind of up against E here, just a little bit of E, although I'm not so sure about Greece. We haven't seen much movement out of Greece. But also they're up against J and I. So that's probably why this team filled up last, is they're surrounded by 1, 2, 3 teams directly adjacent, and then another team that's very close to being adjacent. And probably pretty soon, whatever this little territory is there, what is that? It's Serbia. Pretty soon that will probably get gobbled up. Although we don't know that for sure, because whoever attacks into these border sort of AI will be vulnerable from counterattack from the other side. So a lot of interesting stuff going on. This game has not even developed into its true character, which is going to be once we get massive navies and air forces on the board, how well are they going to coordinate with those land armies? So it's just fascinating. It's going to be really cool to watch this. We're going to see who is the first, player character, I guess we should say, to go to war with another player character. That will be very interesting to see as well. So thanks for this coming along with this in-depth analysis. I'm going to do just a quick aerial view with everything, all indicators removed, and just talk about basic teams. And then that's what I'm going to publish in real time. This will be released much later when it no longer can be a threat to people. So thanks for checking in, guys. This is going to be a lot of fun, this game. Very excited to see how things turn out, especially in Central Europe. You've got a kind of a noob team that got thrown together at the last minute. I don't think any of these three have played together in the past. I would almost bet money that they haven't. So it's just kind of unfair, but let's see what happens. Sometimes you have to be thrown into the crucible, as it were, to kind of prove your mettle. And I'm just using that metaphor, that blacksmithing metaphor, for all it's worth. All right. Anyway, thanks guys for checking in. I'm so glad you did. This is going to be a great series. I'm glad you're here with us. We'll see y'all next time. Adios, amigos.